Hey up everybody and welcome back to the Arnaud Cycling YouTube channel, where today we're going to be taking a look at the BEMER Classic, the next round of the Super Classico series. We've still got quite a lot of these races left to go and they are about to come pretty thick and fast, but the BEMER Classic usually ends in a sprint of anywhere between sort of 30 to 40 riders is usually the usual get-up that we have. There have been some more attritional versions, like the version where Marco Haller won ahead of Wout van Aert, but usually you see quite a big sprint of versatile classic style sprinters, and that's really what we're going to be focusing in on in today's video. Firstly, we've got Jasper Philipsen, and I think that he is a good choice for lots of teams, especially considering that he was good during the Renee Tour. I especially look at that last stage, for stage 5, where there's lots of up and downs, there's lots of hard attritional racing, and I think that the BEMER Classic definitely has that in kind of like that 20 kilometre stretch. They've got lots of kind of 1 kilometre, 8% climbs, and I think that the Renee Tour stage 5 was very reminiscent of that, so I think Philipsen is a good choice. He'll probably make the front group if there is one, or if an attacking group gets off the front, he'll certainly be fighting it out for the minor placing. So Philipsen's really safe. Delee's really safe as well. I would say that most people should be taking both of these riders. Delee, at the end of the day, he was also really strong during the Renee Tour. He, like Philipsen, can either make it into that front group. I'd say that Delee actually has a higher chance of making it into like an attacking style group. I think he's better on the hills than Philipsen is, but he's also a really strong sprinter, and Delee is a fantastic one-day racer, and I think that both of these guys are very strong contenders to go onto your teams. Ganna, honestly, I'm not even sure if he'll start this race. Obviously, caveat, the start list hasn't been officially announced yet at the time of this video, so don't take everything as gospel if some people get added or removed. I won't be updating the video. But Ganna was just woeful during the Renee Tour, so I would stay away from him at all costs. Olav Koy, I don't know how he's going. He crashed on stage 1 of the Renee Tour, much to the detriment of my team, and I'm not sure how he's recovered from that. They might decide that it's safer to go with Laporte. I would say that I would rather go with Laporte than Koy, just because I know how good Christophe Laporte looked in the Renee Tour. He was very active, he looked really strong in a lot of the sprints, and if he is their leader, he should in theory be a top 10 candidate. And he's also a bit like Delee, where he can definitely get into those attacking moves if they do go off the front. Koy, I think, is very reliant, a bit like Merlier, on the race really kind of coming back to them. They can't really go and join a front group because they just don't climb well enough. Speaking of which, Merlier, he also crashed during the Renee Tour, again, much to the detriment of my team. And personally, I just think that Merlier, even last year, he wasn't in the sprinting group in this race, and I don't think that he'll be there this year. I think they've got other options in the team, and I would probably stay away from Merlier in this, just because, again, like Koy, I don't know how he's recovered from that crash, and it's too risky to be investing 24 credits, especially when you have Delee or Laporte as alternative options. That just doesn't make sense to me why you'd go with somebody else. Caleb Ewan, maybe he could be a bit of a surprise showing in the top 10, but again, at 22 credits, it's quite risky to put onto somebody who hasn't had the greatest season. And honestly, I think there are people who are better choices than him who are cheaper, and 22 credits is just quite a lot to be putting onto somebody who's just had such a rocky season. Biniam Girmay, again, much to the detriment of my team in Renee Tour, he was, again, just nowhere to be found, pretty much. He scored 0 points there. I don't know what's happened, but post-Tour de France, he just hasn't been the Biniam Girmay that I remember from that tour. I don't know what's going on, but Binny, in theory, suits this race, yes, but that Renee Tour really doesn't fill me with a lot of confidence. However, it wouldn't surprise me at all to see him fighting for the victory. It just, I'm very apprehensive about wanting to pick him because he wasn't anywhere during the Renee Tour, and I would expect him to at least be like somewhere like top 20 GC, top 15 GC, trying to get some top 10s to be warranting picking him, but he wasn't even in the top 20 of any stage. Then you've got Lampard might be an option for Soudal Quickstep instead of Merlier, but I think that Lamperty is probably better. We'll get onto him in a minute. Arambaru is a safe choice for like a top 15. Demar was actually 4th in this race last year, I think. However, he hasn't shown the form of last year, so I won't be recommending him this time round. Although he has got some top 10s in sprints, I'm not overly confident in him. Healy, if you think some guy's going to be attacking, it's probably going to be him. And Velens as well. Like, if you wanted a full attacking style team, I would probably be going with Laporte and DeLee and Healy and Velens pretty much. But it depends how you think the race is going to go. I'll probably stick more with sprinters. You've got Christoph, Mayus and Trentin. I think Trentin will make the sprint. I'm not sure about Mayus or Christoph. I just think that these guys, they climb okay if there's, say, 1 or maybe 2 climbs to get over. But when the Bemer Classic has got like 4 or 5 short, sharp bergs to be getting over, I just don't think that these guys will be making it. I think Trentin's got a decent shot though for sure. 18 credit riders, Ackermann, he DNF'd the Tour de Pologne last I saw him, so I don't know how he's going. Coquard, certainly a decent option, but they also have Axel Zingler, who I would rather pick because he looked good in the Renew Tour. He was 3rd in that opening stage. He was, I think he was top 10 in that final stage as well. I think that he's certainly somebody who could be in the top 10 in this race for sure. You got Pollitt, who, as a German in his sort of home, kind of one of the bigger races in his home nation, he'll be wanting to do well. So I think that Pollitt's good. He was also, I think, top 15 in this race last year. And UAE, considering that their main sprinter is Milano, who, let's face it, I don't have massive confidence in him making this finale. They might decide to go with Pollitt as their fastest man, because I think that he's probably faster than Velens. So Pollitt's certainly an interesting one. And yeah, Cernclao, Degenkolb, Nizzolo, I don't think that, or Vermeersch, I don't think those are good choices, considering that you could go with Zingler. He's probably the best one of that lot. 16 credit riders, Sam Bennett isn't actually in this race anymore, so we'll skip over him. Bauhaus, German rider, German sprinter, home race. Doesn't climb brilliantly, he climbs okay. So it's a bit touch and go whether he will make it into that sprinting group. However, Bahrain will be all in around him. He will be the leader of the team. So Bauhaus is certainly an okay choice. Ivan Garcia Cortina, he should be making that front group. He's certainly somebody for the top 15. Hofstetter possibly for Israel Premier Tech. They have about 4 different options in this race. It could be him, it could be Ackermann, it could be another 2 riders. I don't really know. Honestly, Hofstetter and Ackermann. Well, Hofstetter hasn't shown that great form this year, to be honest. I would say Ackermann's a better choice, even if he did DNF Pologne. Lamperty, I think, is a great choice for a lot of teams. He was very good during the Deutschland Tour, even on the lumpier terrain. He was shown to be quite versatile at getting over the climbs, and I think that given that Tim Merlier is a bit unknown in terms of injury status, I think that Lamperty is a really good rider to be picking up into your team. At 16 credits, I think that's pretty good value for money. I think Turnesson's okay as well, considering that I have question marks over Biniam Girmay. They might go with Turnnesson instead, but again, when you could go with a more certain leader in Lamperty, I think that Turnnesson is a little bit risky, but he's certainly a cool differential for sure. Van Hils, he's got so many VELOGAMES points in one-day races this year. However, they should be going with DeLee, so I think that Van Hils won't be the greatest choice for this race. I think Van Poppel, he was 2nd behind Mads Pedersen last year, and I think that he should be their man of choice because Red Bull Bora Hansgrohe, this is like their home race as a German-based team. They should be wanting to do quite well, and I think that Van Poppel is a safer choice than Mayus to be getting over those climbs. I think they'll say that Mayus is the main man, but if he can't make it, then they'll definitely go with Van Poppel, and he was looking good during the Deutschland Tour. So I think Van Poppel, another good choice. 14 credit riders, Canter, again, German sprinter. He was 9th in this race last year, so he's clearly capable of making the finale of this race. And I don't see any reason why he can't do that again. He should be leading the Astana Kazakhstan team. You got Milan here at 14 credits. I expect him to be very, very highly selected. However, one thing that might draw you away from him is that he wasn't climbing brilliantly during the Deutschland Tour. That might be because he was working for Mads Pedersen on those hillier stages, so maybe those results aren't truly reflective as to how Milan is actually climbing at the moment, but just a little bit of a question mark as to whether Milan is climbing as well as he is sprinting. But in theory, if he makes that final selection, it's like sayonara, lights out, see you in the douches, everybody else, because Milan is pretty much the fastest sprinter in the world right now. So yeah, he is a good option in case you were uncertain as to what I was saying. 12 credit riders, but Dainese in theory is faster than Trentin, but he doesn't climb that well. So if Dainese makes the finale, they'll sprint with him, but I don't think that he will personally. So I think that Dainese is not the greatest choice, especially when you got Godon here, who should be the leader given that Sam Bennett isn't in this race anymore. Godon was 6th place in the Britannia Classic, and I think that was very good form. Should definitely be fighting for the top 10. And think back to like Tour of Romandy early this year where he got 2 stage wins. Godon is pretty fast in the finish, so I like him. 12 credits is definitely good value. I think Paul Pinoe, he was climbing really well in the Rini Y Tour as well. He's a fast sprinter. He should be another one fighting for the top 10. Tom Van Asbroek, another option for Israel Premier Tech. If it's not Ackerman and it's not Hofstetter, then maybe it'll be Van Asbroek. But it's hard to tell with either one of those, so I would say that Godon and Pinoe are the safer options. You could go with Viviani. He has won this race in the past, but Viviani of 2024 is not the Viviani of like 2019. Into the 10 credit riders, Finn Fisher Black is a great attacking option for UAE Team Emirates. So if you think that some attackers are going to make it to the finish, maybe Finn Fisher Black is a choice for that. Maybe Haller is an option for that. He has won this race in the past, of course. But at the same time, they should probably be working for Danny Van Poppel. Mezgec they might go with if Caleb Ewan isn't there, which is pretty likely. So maybe Mezgec gets his own chance here. Steinhauser, EF don't really have a sprinter. There's no Vandenberg here. They've got Healy. They've got just a bunch of climbers, and really, so I think that they'll be animating those climbs. Maybe Steinhauser could make it into an attacking move. 8 credit riders, I like Bassato. I'm not sure if they'll go with him when they've got Biniam Gamai, they've got Mike Turnison, and they've also got Maddie Michels. Bassato might be at the bottom of like their food chain, but I think that he's got the characteristics of somebody who could top 20 this race for sure. Outside of him, you got guys maybe for the breakaways. Tobias Lund Andresen, probably your best one, actually. He should be the sprinter for DSM, Firmenich Postanel. And he's been sprinting very well this year, so yeah, Tobias Lund Andresen, he's probably your best 8 credit rider to be going with. The 6 credit riders, Fabio Christen has had some very good form recently, so I think that he's one of the better 6 credit riders to be going with. Anders Fordager, he was very good in the Tour of Denmark. Magnus Cort Nielsen won that stage, followed by De Lee, but Fordager was 3rd. Like, he's very good over punchy terrain, so maybe he could sneak again, like a top 20. Meyerhofer, honestly, this guy hasn't looked that great since the beginning of this year. I think they'll be going with Trentin, but as a German rider, maybe he's really peaking for this race, who knows. Michels was, I think he was like 13th in this race last year. He's very capable at making it over some of these trickier climbs. So I really like Michels at 6 credits. I would say that they should be going with him over Girmay for this race based upon recent form. And then the other 6 credit riders, honestly, there's not that many to be going at. You're looking at maybe guys for breakaways in the shape of Florian Stork or Steimler possibly. But realistically, you should be going with like Fabio Christen or Michels, I think, as your 6 credit riders. And then into your 4 credit riders, you've got guys maybe for the assist points in Soudal Quickstep from like Bastions or whatever, or guys for a breakaway like Mika Hemming because he's German. That's literally it. That's my sole reasoning for him getting in the breakaway. Archie Ryan, he was very, very aggressive in the Tour de Pologne and the Deutschland Tour. So I think that he's going to be lighting up these climbs. alongside Ben Healy. And if there is going to be an attacking group, I bet Archie Ryan will be up there. And if the group is whittled down enough, maybe he could de facto get like a top 30, or he might sneak some of those like breakaway points if he's just about in a move with like 20Ks to go. So you're kind of clutching at straws a little bit, but I think that's quite an exciting pick for 4 credits. And the last one would be Mads versus Schmidt. He was 14th, I think, in the Britannia Classic. Very good performance from him. He was the best Israel Premier Tech performer on that day. And I think that shows some really good form. Obviously, will he be sprinting for them? I don't know. They might be going with Ackermann or Hofstetter or Tom van Asbroek. But in theory, Mads versus Schmidt is in good form, and he might come like top 25 or something just by being a lead out man or something. So it might be worthwhile putting a bit of a punt on him or Archie Ryan. I think that's certainly more exciting than the assist point option personally. And then this is my team at the moment. We've got Philipsen, DeLee, Pollock, Cantor, Mads versus Schmidt, and Milan. I think it's a pretty strong team, to be honest with you. Maybe I might change out Pollitt, but part of me is thinking that he'll be wanting to, get a result. It's not very often that him, as a domestique, usually on the flat, gets his own opportunity. So I think Pollitt is an okay choice. And then, just like some big quality sprinters in Philipsen and DeLee and Milan. They're probably some of the fastest sprinters, which are realistically going to make that front group. And let me know what you're thinking in the comment section down below. Are you thinking of just really stacking up on sprinters? How do you see the race going? And be sure to put your teams in the comment sections down below. And all that is left to say is to stay safe out there, and I will see you in the next video. Salut!